didn't stop there. I don't know about you, but he just keeps on going, and he come one day to me. And I got in. Immediately, here's how he sells his product. Immediately, growth in the land. It's going to grow. We're going to look at it. We're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. We're going to make more money. We're going to do, the best thing you can do, I'll tell you what you do. That over here is a perfect example. You go out there and get a stinking job, and you start working, and you make a few bucks, and then you decide you don't like that job. You go get another one. But you make sure you get another one before you get rid of that one. And then if you have to work two, you work two. I've worked two before. I worked two one time, man, and I fell asleep on the toilet in the first one during the morning because I was dead tired, man. After 16, 17 hours a day working and then drive time in between the two places, I went in to use the bathroom, and the next thing you know, I'm waking up. And I'm sitting there going, what is this, man? I said, one of these things has got to go. And I got rid of the one during the day and kept the one at night, and then after that I went in the Navy, but I'd worked two jobs. My dad worked me from sun up to sundown. I didn't care. What else you got to do? Honestly, what else do you got to do? Oh, I got to do this. I got to do. No, you need to make some money and live is what you need to do and survive. Hamor is doing that. That's what the devil, now here's the problem with that. You got to watch that thing because the devil will use that to get your ideas and get your life to go this way because now once you start getting a taste of a few bucks, you think you got to have everything. Tithing, I think God gave us tithing to irritate the body of Christ. I think he gave that just for that reason. Because what we'll do is we'll say we have to have so much other stuff. We ain't got the money to give you, God, but everything I got came from you, but I ain't got nothing to give you back. Now, I don't understand how you can think. I was telling the Lord that the other day, I was sitting there praying as I was just sitting there thinking about some stuff. And I said, Lord, I don't know the difference between your stuff and mine anymore. Beth says, she sits down, her and Sandy Bachman, man, they're terrible. Both of them ladies are out to get me. But Beth will have all these receipts, and I got a card. Here you go. I got a wallet. I'll tell you all how I do this, which is very confusing. I got on this side is my credit cards, and on that side is the church's credit cards. And sometimes I get this side and that side mixed up. Most of the time I get that side and this side mixed up. And then the other day, Jerry, in his infinite wisdom, had him cancel all my church cards. So I didn't have no church cards. So then everything's on this side. You think I'm going to quit spending just because I don't have a church card? That's stupid. That's ignorant. That's worse than ignorant, man. What I'm going to do if I don't have it there, I'm going to go there. And if you give me it back, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. Well, no, I don't want to say that's fine too because Jerry said, you said it was fine. But I got my card in the mail. So now I got my church card again. But you know what? I'm sitting there going, Lord, this has been the way I've done it for 40-something years, longer than being saved. I never thought anything about the money. The money's just always there. You say, well, it's not always there for me. Well, I don't understand why it's not. Then maybe you're living outside your means a little bit. Maybe you ought to come down to reality and go out and get a job and work and get down to where you need to be. Otherwise, you're going to do the same thing Hamor is, and he's going to sell this thing, this deal that these people have concocted to kill every one of them. So you go out in this world and you think you're going to get somebody. Anybody trying to sell you something is a liar. These groups all around the country, there's groups everywhere. You need to network. They're all liars, man. They're out to make your money. You need to buy gold. But you use the dollar to buy gold. The dollar's no good, but you can buy gold. And when you buy gold, it goes back into the dollar. Yeah. And they take money out of your dollar to buy the gold. Then they take money out of the gold to buy the dollar. It's a scam. Yep. That's all that is. And I heard a guy the other day say, your retirement, God is expecting you to take care of your retirement. So you need to go to these people to. I'm like, God don't care nothing about your retirement. He owns the cattle of 1,000 hills. Why would he care about your retirement? That's exactly where these guys are. They're looking bigger. And here's I'm going to sell it to these people. Immediate gratification. Look what we can fast grow. Fast growing is not the way to go, by the way. Probability we will soon become wealthy overnight. Sure thing, let's do it. Let's do it. Verse 25. And it came to pass on the third day. Everything comes to pass. If you don't think it's going to come to pass, do something, see what's happening. The best thing you can do is learn God's word. Apply this thing to your life. He put these examples all in our Bible to keep us out of trouble, but some people just ain't going to do it. They're going to do what they think because they think they know better. I know people right now who think they know better. They won't listen. Church is a strange thing. But it's the same thing as the military or anything else. The Lord has, he has people in charge. He put Moses in charge. A bunch of people went up against Moses, and God tried, he killed them. Dathan and Abiram, he opened up the ground. The words didn't even come out of Moses' mouth till the ground opened up and swallowed them right up. Now, I'm telling you, anybody that can walk into a tent and a pillar of cloud or falls down on this tent and it feels full of smoke, I would stop for just a second before I said anything about this guy. But they have no clue. They think, well, I'm equal to this guy. No, you're not equal to that guy. You never were equal to that. Joshua knew that who was in charge. He didn't have a problem with him being in charge. I can follow him. Joshua never wanted to get second place. He never wanted to be the next one in line. It could have been Caleb. God was the one who chose Joshua, but Joshua just wanted to be around the Lord. He knew what side to be on. Brethren, to be where God's at, it doesn't matter where you're at in that structure. As long as you're in the structure somewhere with God, who cares? Yet we all want to be there. I don't have a problem with Dr. Jack Hyles. I don't have a problem with Lester Roloff. I don't have a problem with John R. Wright, Dr. John R. Rice. None of these guys. Am I in their camp? No, I'm not. But I tell you what, I read their stuff and I can get stuff from them. You say, how can you do that? Because they're saints just like I am. Amen. They're men of God just like I'm trying to be. Man of God. But when I sit in Dr. Jack Hyles' church for 2 years, I never went up to him, hey, I think you should. No, I kept my mouth shut. I didn't understand one thing that guy was doing. I was just a baby Christian. Now I understand exactly why he did what he did. There has to be some level of organization in anything you do. And a lot of times we can't see that organization. God brings that thing right down to our families. There has to be an organization in the family. Hamor was trying to get something, and it came to pass on the third day when they were sore. So Simeon and Levi knew exactly what was going on. The two sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brethren, took each man his sword and came upon the city boldly and slew all the males. Now, I don't know how many people were in this city, but there was enough that they got them all. And they slew Hamor and Shechem with his sons with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah out of Shechem's house and went out. Dinah was there when they came. Dinah was not home with Jacob. She was there with Shechem. Dinah was participant in what went on here. They can say whatever they want, but this right here is just pure rage is all this is. And brethren, in our lives, we have that in our lives today. And sometimes the Bible says, be angry and sin not. You can be mad. And everybody always says, well, Elliott, you're a chief. You just act like a chief. Well, I know my dad taught me how to yell a long time ago. My dad was one of the greatest yellers you ever seen in your life. That's just the way he was raised. I'm not saying yelling is correct. But I tell you what, try to get 1,000 men to jump on a ship and leave everything they have and go out to sea for 6 months. Try to get them to do it for 10 weeks when they don't know nothing about it on their way home. They come to church. They come to the ship today. They climb up the stairs. 2 Marines are standing there with M16s. They let you on, and they don't let you off. You're not going home tonight. You think you were going home tonight, but you're not going home tonight. You're going out to sea tonight. And you're going to be gone for 10 weeks. Now, how do you convince 500 Navy men that's what you're going to do, and you're going to be happy about it? Sometimes you have to get their attention. And the only way you can get their attention is to get over their grief and more misery and everything else. And then, hey, you join the Navy. Shut up, man. It's your responsibility. But here, these guys right here are just, what they've done is sheer rage. There is nothing correct about this at all. Zero, nothing. Never count your chickens until your eggs hatch. I got that little note here. Never place all your eggs in one basket. What Hamor and Shechem did is they went out and met some people they know nothing about. You know nothing about these people in the world. We think we know our families. You don't know your family. You don't know exactly what your family will do. When you got saved and you trusted Jesus Christ, something happened to you that changed you. You are no longer, this world is not my home. I'm just a passing through. 1980, 1 second before I trusted Jesus Christ, this world was my home. 1 second after I trusted Jesus Christ, that all changed. Now, I did not know it, that it changed that night. But I changed addresses. My new home I have a home beyond the river. That's where my home is. I have a mansion bright and fair. I have a home beyond the river. I'm telling you, that thing changed, and the Lord says, you were bought with a price. I was sold unto sin, unto the devil. He bought me with a price, and that's what happened to me. We are still sitting here today, and we refuse to believe what he did at Calvary for us and what he did at the night you got saved. And we sit there and go back into this world and say, I can do whatever I want to do. And you cannot do it. Cannot be done. Yet we do that. We think we can do that. You can't do it, brother. You can't do it. These guys right here have sit there and looked at somebody coming up, and they think they're the same as they are. And Jacob and his kids have learned how to lie and steal and cheat under Laban for all those years, 20 years. Actually, probably a good, probably 14 of those 20 years, them kids started coming up. You let them get to the time they can get 5 or 6, and they're going to start seeing everything Jacob is doing and everything Laban's doing to Jacob, everything Jacob, this is family. Could you imagine what the rest of the world is doing to them? I mean, if you get family issues that way, you got a problem. So verse 27, now the sons of Jacob came upon the slain. So now everybody else starts getting in on the picture because they see the value of taking everything that these people have. And they go in and start taking everything out of their city. And people say, oh, well, that's what they used to do. That doesn't make it right. The reason for mass murder was the city defiled their sister. The city did not defile your sister. Shechem did. And your sister was part of what went on with your sister, with Shechem. All the rest were murdered in fury and anger. That was wrong, totally wrong. Many died for one man's action. The Lord never kills everybody for one man's action. One man, even the Old Testament says, a child shall not die for his father's sin, and a father shall not die for his child's sin. The Lord separated that thing out. They went in there, and for just sheer reason, they came upon a city they know nothing about. One thing happens that they should have never been there to start with. They caused it, they're there, and now they kill everybody in the city. To get what? Money. That's all it was. Many died for one man action, and then came the rest of Jacob's sons. What I liked about this, I started looking, I said, I wonder where Joseph fit in this picture. If Jacob got Leah the night that he got her, he gave 7 years for her. So at the end of 7 years of the 20, that leaves 14 years left. He got Leah. Then when he woke up the next morning, he got exactly what he deserves. When he woke up the next morning, it was Leah. And don't tell me you can't tell the difference between Leah and Rachel. If there's that much difference in your eyeballs to them girls, you can't tell the difference unless they got you good and drunk. However, you got Leah, and then you go complain, and then he gives you Rachel for 7 more years. It says at the end of that 14-year period of servitude, Rachel has Joseph. So Joseph couldn't be that old. Then he gets ready to leave, and Laban comes up to him and says, hey, I've seen, man, but the hand of God on me because of you. And then he serves for another 6 years for the cattle. So Joseph can't be much more than 6 years old. So he's probably not in this crowd going out there doing the things. That the Lord probably protected him back there away from all of his other brethren. Benjamin's not born yet, so it can't be Benjamin, and he's not in there either. So it's all of Judah, all the rest of them are out there doing this thing, which is totally wrong. Verse 28, they took their sheep, their oxen, their asses, and all which was in the city, and all which was in the field. They start jumping on everything. Now, brother, a guy heard him talk the other day, and he said there's like 6 steps to people doing things strangely, and he goes, what you do is you give somebody to help them. You got to watch how you help people, because we think you should help them. We've created a whole society full of people that are now totally dependent on us to give them what they want. And if you don't give them, he goes, by the time you get to like the 4th thing, they become dependent. They entitled. They think they're entitled to something. Then they become dependent on that. And if you don't give it to them, they won't work, they won't do anything, and they think it's just going to happen and that you're going to give it to them. So then they look at the whole country as, they start looking at the government as this is the entity that needs to give me what, they don't care where it comes from. They just want it. They become dependent, then they're entitled. Then if they don't get it, they get bitter because you won't give them what they're supposed to get. We've created a whole society like that. I've never depended on anybody to give me anything. I worked for what I got. And I can still work for what I got. I can still go out and make a living if I want to make a living. I can still make money. I don't need the government to give me 10 cents. Hey, I worked for 65 years, 62 when I started drawing Social Security. I started drawing Social Security because it was there. I paid into it a whole bunch more than I'll ever get out of it. I won't get nowhere near out of what I paid into that thing. But I'm going to take it as soon as I can get it. Why? It's a supplement to what else I make. And I can make other money in a lot of different ways. You know what? You got to learn that in your life. And you got to learn how to trust people, not to trust people. There's some people that you can forgive. Grace is an easy thing. You can forgive people. You can forgive them all day long. That doesn't mean you have to get around them. I've seen dogs. I just don't get around dogs that will bite you, man. I don't know why people do that. Hogs will eat you. There's all kinds. Lions are cute. Don't you like the big furry mane on the male lion just sitting there? And he looks just like something you'd go up and pet. How about a polar bear? Polar bears are so cool, man. They just look like something you, killer whales. Why anybody gets mad because they go swimming and a shark bites them, I have never figured that out. You put a steak in front of something and then that's what it's there to do, and it bites you and you think that it's out of place. No, maybe you are. Go out there with all that male stuff on, that stuff that they can't bite through, and then you won't go very far. You won't go swimming. Digression. What do you do, man? They took sheep. They took everything. They stole everything they had. They stole it. God was not happy with that. And all their wealth and all their little ones and their wives they took captive and spoiled even all that was in the house. Now, I'm going to say this. I still got 25 minutes. I actually be able to finish this chapter probably. And their gods, they took, go to Genesis chapter 30, hang on. Am I in the right place? Yep. 35. I think it's 35. Yeah, 35, 1 and 2. The next chapter. And God said to Jacob, so Jacob heads out of Dodge after he kills everybody and does all this other stuff. And we'll get to the end of this in a second. And God said unto Jacob, arise, go up to Bethel. You're going to go to where I told you to go to start with, and dwell there, and make thee an altar unto God, and that appeared unto thee when thou fleddest from the face of Esau thy brother. Then Jacob said, now this is 20 years earlier. This isn't just now a few minutes ago or a few days ago or a few weeks ago when Esau came out to meet him. This is back when he cheated his brother, lied to his brother, stole the birthright, Esau had part of that too. Verse 2, and Jacob said unto his household and to all that were with him, put away strange gods, the strange gods that are among you, and be clean and change your garments. Everybody he took out of Shechem had gods. Now let's go back to 29. That sounds like 30. And all their wealth and all their little ones and all their wives took they captive. Sometimes you get more than what you bargained for when you take stuff you shouldn't have. Sometimes when you go for something that you shouldn't get to start with, you get something more than what you bargained for, and you'll find out sometimes it's harder to let go of that stuff than it was. And their gods, the people of Shechem, worship different gods than the God of Abraham. And when the sons of Jacob takes everything from the city, they got something they shouldn't have touched. They got some other gods. Now, infiltrated into Jacob's family is other gods that he should never have. Not only did Rachel bring in her father's god, this stuff is all around them. Now they bring all this other stuff. Verse 30. And Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, ye have troubled me to make me stink among the inhabitants of the land. Oh, you think so? First of all, why would your sons think they could do that and get away with it? You did it. Why can't they? They never seen a change in you. You've done the exact same thing. They probably know all about what you did to your brother Esau. Then you put your kids out in front of the whole thing so that if something happens, they get killed and you don't. You don't think these kids, brother, kids are not stupid, man. They're pretty sharp. They got these little brains inside their heads that don't have nothing in them, and they got all the software that you were created with too, so they got it too. They're watching everything you do, and their mind is going 1 + 1 is 2. And 2 + 2 is 4, not 5. And 4 + 4 is 8. That'll work now. And they keep on going. And pretty soon, they're making these things. Isn't it amazing you make what destroys you? If you look at the things that humans make, it's what destroys them. You know, they changed the King James Bible from the New to the New King James Bible strictly because they said they didn't want to lose the literary value of the King James Bible. It was such a good Bible. But if we don't do something with it, the new generations won't get it. They won't. No, they need to read it. They don't need to change it. You need to read. You can't change God. You need to leave it alone, and you need to take it like it is. Maybe you need to change to be like it. That's what's wrong with the world. They don't want to change. He said, you troubled me to make me stink among the inhabitants of the land. Well, Jacob, you did it to yourself. Among the Canaanites and the Perizzites, and I being few in number, they shall gather themselves together against me and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, and I and my house. No, you won't. God's still in charge. That is, brother, all through our Bible, same thing. It never changes. God's in charge. He gets mad. You get on 1 Kings, 2 Kings, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel. It doesn't really matter. You went to the gods. You went to the world, the men of this world to save you, to do all this other stuff. When they wanted a king, they blew it right there, because they shifted off of God to worldly control and worldly people to take care of them. They didn't want God, but God has done a great job over the years. He got you through the Red Sea. I've never seen Saul split the Red Sea or bring manna down out of the sky. I've never seen any of that stuff. David did a couple good things, but you never see men do that kind of stuff unless you're Elijah or Elisha or one of them guys. But I'm telling you that we have traded off the value of being a servant of Jesus Christ for the value of what this world has. I was talking to Beth this morning, and I said, Beth, you're still a Proverbs 31 wife to me. And she just laughed because she thought she was a mess. And she is, just like I'm a mess. And but she has, for 33 years, she has been right there with me. She has taken care of me. She's helped me. We sit out here, Brother Rich and Mike were talking about, Mike and Rich come up with all these big ideas, and somehow it always ended up with me doing their big ideas. They're good ideas. There's nothing wrong with their ideas. They're great ideas. But somehow, Rich comes up the other day, and he's going, hey, we need to tear this blacktop up here, and we need to run this. And Mike, you need to get them to cut all this blacktop up and do all this. I'm like, man, that's like ching, 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 ching. Now you're adding on to the system. And I'm sitting there going, oh, Lord. I said, and Rich goes, so me and Mike are in this best, worst idea game. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, I said, the best, worst idea? He goes, yeah. He goes, all of our ideas are great, but they're just worse for you. They're bad for you. I said, yeah, you're absolutely right. And I said, Mike keeps coming up with all these ideas, but I have to do it. They're great ideas, and then he puts a thought in my head. I'm like, yeah, that has to happen. Beth came up with this brilliant idea. She said, we got 2 blowers at the house, and there was dust all over the parking lot Friday night. We come over. You know how we spend our Friday nights? With a set of blowers in the parking lot, cleaning it off so you can park on Sunday morning. Does that put any of y'all in a conviction? I doubt it. But if it does, come and see me. That's what we were doing. This is me and my wife. Our date nights are in Kroger's getting food or out there blowing the parking lot off. Well, I was going to sweep it off. She had this brilliant idea about the blowers. And in mine, I'm like, man, that is a good idea. I said, blowers, blow that stuff. I didn't really realize how much dust was there. Next thing you know, the whole side of the house has got dust all over it. Everything's got dust all over it. Somebody parked a car out there, probably had dust on it. Everything's just a mess, man. Then you got to come back and clean up all the mess. And Rich goes, is she a candidate for the best, worst idea also? I said, yeah, I think she's got the number one best, worst idea because it costs me a whole bunch more time than the other one. But, brother, when you sit here and you look at this stuff, he says, you made me stink. Well, but there's a totally different thing of somebody helping and doing the right thing and maybe something going wrong than what you did. You trained up your 11 boys. You trained up 10 of them anyways to go out there and do some very wicked things. And they did it, and you never corrected them for what they did. You never even said what they did was wrong. You just said, oh, you made me look bad. Well, brethren, if you worry about, I don't think any kid should ever make their parents look bad. But if they do, you had to stop sometime and say, well, maybe I'm the one who caused them to make me look bad. Maybe I didn't do exactly what I wanted. He said, you have troubled me in the land, and I being few in number. No, God's going to take care of the thing, man. All you got to do is let God take care of it. He always takes care of all the problems. You don't ever have to worry about it. Without permission from their father, they go kill everybody. He didn't stop them, but I'm sure they didn't ask him. They devised the plan on their own, used the Lord's covenant to secure the end result. They did no different than what Jacob did when he did that to Esau. Esau, he said, sell me your birthright, I'll give you a bowl of beans. What he did was he made God's blessing a commodity. And I can get that however I want to get it. And as long as I get it, you know what? God still honors that stuff. But boy, it's going to cost when you do it. You want that thing? You want something that God has to give, and you don't want to get it the right way? You bet money he'll give you. It's like getting a tiger by the tail, man. You better not let go of that thing. And Jacob rebuked Simeon and Levi for their actions. He does kind of rebuke them here, but that's about all it goes. Verse 31, and they said, should he deal with our sister as with a harlot? Wait a second. You let her go out into the wilderness all by herself. What do you mean him? You let her go there. You allowed her to be put into that place. That's exactly what happened here. My mom used to let me, and my dad used to let me run all over the place. I can do anything I want to do. Oh, that's okay. That's fine. You can let them do whatever they can do. No. We have set up a whole generation. Now, brethren, I'm not even talking about us here in the church. You look at the country and the world, and they are doing some of the strangest things that you've ever seen in the whole wide world. And it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and it's never going to get any better. And what it is we have trained up our kids to be that way. We have thrown out all the standards. Man, you can't have standards. You can't have this. You can't have that. You should have standards. But first of all, those standards have to be applied to our lives. Kids have to see, young people have to see, the world has to see that you're living it too. If you're not going to live it, they're not going to listen to it. And Jacob does not respond to this statement. You let her go out as a harlot? They're dealing with our sister as a harlot? No. Your sister, if you're going to say they treat her like one, then your sister must have acted like one. And Jacob caused the death of an entire city because he did not do what he should have done in the beginning. I said that. He swindled the birthright. He lied to his dad to get the blessing. He deceived Laban for 20 years. He got a couple things back on his own. He didn't trust the providence of God. There's where the problem starts. Brethren, I don't know how much I can tell somebody how real God is. They just don't want to believe it. But there's nothing I can do. I'm going to bite the dust one day. I'm going to die. I'm going to take my last breath, and I'm going to go home to be with the Lord Jesus Christ. And I've told for 43 years, I've told people about Jesus Christ. I've told them. And I've told them. My hands, I'm like Paul. My hands are clean. I've told people for 43 years. I've got yelled at, screamed at, spit on, things thrown at me, cursed. I had a witch curse me one time for about 5 minutes. I had all kinds of stuff happen over the last 43 years. Just happens because I told them the truth. They don't have to believe it. But I'm telling you, one day you'll take your last breath, and at that point, it is too late. If you want to believe the deception of this world, I got a car to sell. I got a bridge I can sell you. I'm telling you what, people buy stuff all the time. And you ever notice how you buy a car and it says as is? That means there's problems with it. If anybody's not going to sell you something that is perfectly fine, you take it. I sell cars as cheap as I can possibly sell them. And sometimes I sell them just to get my money back on them. And I don't make a whole lot of money, if any, on them. But I don't sell something and make a lot of money. Oh, it's the greatest thing in the world. There's nothing wrong with it. No, there is something. There's always, you buy a car. Why do you think they give you a 12-month warranty? Because there's definitely something wrong with that car when you buy it. And they said, should he deal with our daughter as with a harlot, our sister? Well, you didn't care a whole lot about her when you sent her. You let her go out. Not only did Jacob do it, but your two brothers, you let her go out. And you think she's okay. Well, they're 15 years old. They're 14 years old. They know exactly what's going on. They can no, they can't. Our problem is adults. We are adults because we've went through some things in life that made us adults. Kids have not went through that. And if you think you can treat a child like an adult, you're going to raise a devil is what you're going to raise. Pretty soon that little child is going to be doing exactly what they want to do. Guess what? Here's the next thing. You can't just beat them into submission. You know how you get a child to submit? You live it before them, and then you put them under conviction. You shame them into it. You just do the right thing, man. Do the right thing. Don't ask your kid to do something you won't do. As a matter of fact, you already should do it. You should be doing exactly what you're asking your kid to do, or else you're a mess. He lied to Esau about the intent to follow him. Just the other day he lied when he went through that thing. He should have never been anywhere near Shechem. Yet he's there. Jacob took his whole family there. They followed him there. His sons were evil in the execution of their anger. They were. That's Genesis chapter 31. Look at that. I got the thing done. I still got 2 minutes left. And they said, should he deal with our sister as with a harlot? No, you should not. But by doing that, by even being there, this whole problem is Jacob's problem. You make your own problems. I make my own problems. You know what? When he says, be not deceived, God is not mocked, for whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. Then he says over in Proverbs, trust in the Lord with all thy heart, lean not on thy own understanding, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. I like it over there in Proverbs 1. He says, I'll laugh at your calamity. You know, if you reject Jesus Christ and you get to heaven, there's a good chance he's going to laugh right in your face. Because he's going to bring up, I told you here, I told you here, I told you here. You thought you were smarter than everybody else. I told you here, I told you here. I used this guy here, I used this person here. I told you, I told you, I told you, I told you, I told you. And you believed a lie. Because that's what you wanted to believe. That you want to hang with those people. You know why people hang with the wrong people? Because they've been lied to. And they just feel this need to be with this crowd, and then they'll do whatever they have to do with it. I don't need a crowd. I don't even like crowds. Hebrews chapter 1. I started this chapter with this verse. I'm going to end it with this. I got 2 minutes. It's going to take me 2 minutes. I'm done. I'm just going to read the verse. Hebrews chapter 1. It's a great passage. See, it's great. It's like the rest of the Bible. God, who at sundry times and in divers manners spake in times past unto the fathers by the prophets, hath in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he had. Okay, so at this point, Jesus is there. Whom he hath appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the worlds. He told you in a little breath right there, Jesus existed. He's the heir of all things, and he made all things. Who being the brightness of his glory, the express image of his person, and upholding all things by the word of his power, when he had himself purged our sins, sat down at the right hand of the majesty on high, being made so much better than the angels. That's our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Jacob can do nothing. This shows you the power of God. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Adam, Noah, I don't care, David, Saul, it doesn't matter who, me. Nobody can do anything to stop what God's going to do. God has a plan, and that plan is going to be carried out to the nth degree. It is going to be carried out perfectly. And whether somebody believes it or not is irrelevant. It is going to be carried out. There is a heaven, there is a hell. Jacob, no matter how bad he is, and we could sit here and look at Jacob and say Jacob has some good points. Very few, but he had some. And he gets it all in the neck, and you're going to see in the next couple, 2 or 3 chapters, he gets it in the neck bad for his whole life. He has a miserable life for his whole life because he never stopped and just did right. Bob Jones Sr. always said the hardest 2 words in English language is do right, do right. Jacob could not mess up the Lord's plan. He can't do it. He can't mess it up. Nor could his sons mess up the Lord's plan, nor can we mess up the Lord's plan. And we have a great God that can do whatever he wants to do, however he wants to do it. You can't say it any better than that. He's a great God. All through my Bible, when I look at this thing, I said, Lord, here is a testimony of what you did. Here's a testimony of all this stuff all the way through. And we're sitting here in the New Testament, and really what's already happened is nothing that we can do, but boy, there's a whole bunch of stuff out in the future that's getting ready to happen. There's 1,007 years at least still in front of us before that judgment day of the white throne judgment. But that rapture is going to happen in here. We're going to be gone. We're going to be out of here. And we're going to be sitting with the Lord Jesus Christ, and for all eternity, I'm going to be there. And there's going to come a day when he's going to start throwing people into hell, and we're going to sit and look at it, and we're going to say, glory to God. People say, how could you say glory? Because he did it, and he gave everybody the opportunity, just like I tell everybody. Noah getting all those people that didn't get on the ark, they made a choice not to get on the ark. A literal, physical choice, and they died. Well, I didn't believe Noah. Well, okay, Noah said it. Well, I never seen rain before. Doesn't matter. Noah said it's going to rain, and he said God said it's going to rain. That's why I'm building an ark, and if you want to get out of this thing, get on the ark. I'm sure he told some people that. And they said, no, we're going to stay right here, and we're going to have fun, and we're going to do what we want to do because that's way down the road somewhere. And one day that door shut, and everybody on that planet died. Father, thank you for your blessings. Thank you for a Bible, Lord.